All right, let's go, gays.
Let's go, lesbians. Let's go.
Well, which one of you beta cucks is going to lead off this podcast?
Sarah, take it away.
What the Sigma is gooning on
I have
here.
social anxiety. Don't make me.
Hi, welcome to the Trans Safe Space Brats pod. My name is Ben, and I'm gay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me start that off again from the Brat end, just because I want to do a little special thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you will, Ben.
So you want me to start over?
No, hold on. I just want to do a little something special, which is... Hey, Brats. My name is Robin, and I'm Brat.
My name is Ben, and I'm Brat.
My name is Chloe, and I'm... Wait, what the am I supposed to say Brat too?
You're Brat. Kamala is Brat. I am Brat. Ben is Brat. Kamala is Brat. Sarah is even Brat.
I'm Sarah.
I feel like
we are
Sarah's...
all Brat on this blessed day.
Yes.
We are all Brat.
Chloe, are you Brat?
We come before our patron saint, Charlie XCX, asking for a blessing of Bratness.
I'm Chloe, and I'm Brat. There we go.
You're damn straight.
No, I'm not straight.
She's not. We've been over this.
You're damn gay, you're Brat.
We spent the last 30 minutes talking about this. No.
That girl ain't right.
I tell you what, that girl ain't right.
I love how unhinged this episode is going to be.
I have caused Chloe to decease.
You have a great laugh.
We are here under the pretenses of having a serious conversation, I believe, about politics, I want to say.
Somebody told me I was supposed to do research and I was supposed to have a genuine smart topic to discuss. But instead, I've just been stirring the pot that is you yahoos for the last 30 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. That's fine, yeah.
Excuse
That's
me, I'm not a
fine with
Yahoo,
me.
I'm a yeehaw.
He's a yeehaw.
Understandable.
That's
Have a
true.
great day.
He took the blood test. The doctor said 100% yeehaw.
It's a fact. Actually, the blood test is on Friday.
It's a fact.
Well, we're doing a collab today with the Trans Safe Space podcast.
Woo.
Woo.
I'm the only one with a video.
It's the most, low energy. Was the most lowercase woo I've ever heard.
Ooh.
Please put
Mhm.
the most ridiculous,
Yeah,
stock image that you can find for me.
You don't send us a picture. We are inserting a picture of Joe Rogan.
Oh, you know that picture of Elon Musk where he's got the joint in his hand and he's got his eyebrow really up and he's making that weird goofy face? If you Google Elon Musk smoking, you'll find the picture. It is the most hilarious fucking image.
Have we been following the Elon news, guys?
Oh my
I'm moving out
god.
of Texas.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
This picture is insane.
Yeah.
He's like,
So, what I'm getting from this Elon Musk interview, he did an interview with
Oh,
Jordan
right.
Peterson recently. My TLDR from the Elon Jordan Peterson interview is that Elon bought Twitter because his daughter is trans.
because she killed his son.
And he's here to fight the woke mind
Because of the
virus.
woke mind virus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But do not, under any circumstances, deadnamex.com.
Oh, I do it all the time. I'm in marketing.
Misgendering is a weapon of
and
the enemy. We will not use it.
in literally every document that I make about
Mhm.
Twitter, I'm like Twitter, because F Elon Musk
Mm-hmm.
on official documents.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's fair.
There was a brief movement on trans Twitter a couple months ago of I'm not calling it X until Elon stops dead naming his
I was about
daughter.
to say that. It's on the day that Elon Musk stops being a transphobe, I will call it X.
Mhm.
Yes.
Which is funny because X is the non-binary gender marker.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But who can
Yeah,
fathom the
exactly. He's
who
reclaiming
can
it.
fathom the wiles of the elongated muskrat?
I have not heard that one, and I like it.
He did do one thing that I did appreciate recently, is he commented on one of J.K. Rowling's Twitter posts and said, "Can't you talk about anything else?"
I did see that. Fuck that woman. Not literally, because no thank you.
Please
but-
don't, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Joanna.
If everyone just collectively stops perceiving Rowling, then she ceases to be a problem.
That's why I'm another millennial with a Harry Potter cover-up. This used to be a Harry Potter tattoo. Now it's trees.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a pentagram.
That's awesome.
Yes. And Rainbow Dash on my
That's
right
awesome.
shoulder.
Amazing.
I got a cool octopus.
I love octopuses. Oh my god, that's so cool.
Yes.
That's
So cool.
Amphiooctopus marginatus, the coconut octopus, in its actual size.
Oh,
Oh,
That's amazing.
How many of us have ADHD in this chat?
I think
Who?
all of us don't. we?
Huh?
100%.
This is going to be the
100%.
most neurodiverse, tangential.
Not all trans people are neurodivergent, but
I mean, I am neurodivergent, but not because I'm trans.
And you are
exactly.
not trans because you're neurodivergent.
true.
Correlation is not causation.
Yeah. I'm going to take the claim in the
Moderator.
what's it called? Yes. I'm going to rise to the top of the hierarchy here and take the place of alpha trans woman.
Yeah, you definitely seem like a top. So I'm here
and-
for it.
So on Brat Pod, we like to start off every episode when we introduce a new person, asking how you would describe yourself in terms of your gender. Chloe, why don't you start
Oh,
it
of
off?
course. Trans femme, she, her. That's about it. I'm a little goober.
Yeah. Little goober.
I
Silly
love
little goober.
goobers.
Yes.
How about you, Sarah?
Hi, I am also a silly little goober. I can't talk. I am also trans femme, binary, trans woman. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm a trans woman. I use she, her pronouns.
I am trans mask, and I use he, him pronouns, and I am the token mediocre white man that every podcast requires.
Mm-hmm.
It would only be
Mhm.
better if your name was like Chris or Matt.
My husband is Chris, and my best friend is Matt. Let's go.
Awesome.
Your pronouns are he, him, and you are his.
My pronouns can't be he, him, because I could never be him.
That's true, because you are a woman.
Exactly. You can't be.
Though I'm sure there are women that don't mind he, him pronouns. That was just me trying to be affirming. I'm not trying to unaffirm anyone who might
I was
fall
making
under
a
that.
really shitty joke, but I
Yeah.
appreciate the affirmation.
And another thing that we like to do on our side of things is to have somebody start off the episode with a moment of joy. And I normally would have invited our guests or collaborators right away, but Ben has a really good one.
Mhm.
And I'm going to force him to share his trans moment of joy first.
Okay. Well, pending blood work, I have an appointment to start tea on August 15th.
Let's go.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congrats.
Let's
go,
fucking go.
That's
might cry.
amazing.
Yeah, 6 years in the making.
Yeah.
Finally got a doctor that we're pretty sure has also prescribed Robin E in the past, who's going to be
Yes.
doing my
yes.
tea.
So weird and random.
Yeah, it was a
but-
coincidence. It was not a referral thing. It was I found this clinic that has this gay doctor, and then Robin was like, "That's the same name as a doctor who used to give me E on telehealth."
Mhm.
But yeah,
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, I wish I still had an empty prescription bottle because I'm pretty sure it was exactly
we
the
could
same
put them
person.
like in a little shadow box and put them in the background
Mhm.
with like
Oh,
the names not showing, but like just we'd know they were there, and it would be like very meaningful.
it's like the gayest thing I've ever heard, and it's so sweet.
It's amazing, yeah. So special thank you to Dr. We love you.
Actually, Matt texted me like, "I know you're really anxious, so you should look around the exam room for stuff to steal. I bet they have gloves." And then I sent him a picture of the bowl of condoms that were available in the exam room, and I just wrote, "No glove, no love." It's like, it's a gay clinic.
hell yeah,
Of course
doc.
they have condoms.
Right.
But yeah, that's my moment of trans joy.
It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Does anybody else have a good moment of joy from the week?
Yes, I actually posted or I messaged the group about it. I got gendered correctly by a complete stranger at like 11 o'clock at night. It was just the most random thing ever, and it just made me really happy.
Nice.
Was that at like a gas station, right?
Yes, I was getting a Monster before work, and this dad was like trying to get his kids in order, and then I was just waiting there because I was like, "Can you please just move? I'm uncomfortable because I'm trans out in public." And he looks up at me. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am," and just moves his kid out of the way.
That's wonderful and you deserve it.
Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, I get misgendered a lot by like customers at work for some reason. But then if I just like go out to the gas station or whatever after work, I can get myself reaffirmed because like any random stranger just like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. People tend to be more respectful to random strangers than employees at a place of business.
Yeah, it's like classism in action.
Do you have anything from the past week, Sarah?
I've kind of been just existing this last week.
Yes. I do have a very like topical too, like trans moment of like, huh?
Okay.
But it's not a moment of joy. It's a moment of complete confusion for me. I think I mentioned this on the Discord too, but at work the other day, one of my coworkers, this was either right before or right after the announcement that Biden was stepping down and or dropping out of the race. And she was talking about how she might vote for Trump just because she didn't really like any of the other options. And I've just like had it with these conversations so much recently, especially with all the people talking about the stuff like online. And I just straight up was like, I can't afford that vote. And I was like, his friends are planning so many anti-trans things that will make my life unlivable. And so it's not an option for me to have this conversation with you. And she was just like, oh, wow, I didn't know. I'm not going to vote for him now. I don't know what was going on there because I don't know how you couldn't know.
I don't know how you could think of him as the least bad option.
Right. Yeah.
Imagine not educating yourself on the candidates you vote for.
Right. What the fuck?
I don't know if it was like an active trying not to hear anything about the candidates or if it was like I didn't think about who I was saying this in front of. And now that I've been called out on it, I have to act like I'm not going to vote for this person.
It's not a moment of joy, but it is also topical. I was filling out like the mental health screening paperwork at the doctor today. And like one of the questions was, I'm worried something terrible is going to happen. Like never, some days, most days, every day. And I put every day. And it's like, how is this an indication of my mental health? There's literally a nominee running for president who wants to erase my community. How is that a gauge? Like,
yeah, he texted me about it. I was like, that's just a sanity check. That's not like depression screening.
I was just talking to my psychologist like a couple weeks ago, and that literally came up. I was like, I don't think this is anxiety. I think this is just like a healthy fear of legitimate concern. And she was like, yeah, I agree. I don't think that's an anxiety symptom. I think that's just, it sucks. But yeah.
It's hard to not just sound alarmist to people like this, but I think it's getting a little bit better maybe since Biden dropped out. But there's been so much discourse online. Like, honestly, I feel like I've been shamed by people online about voting for the Democratic candidate just because all the other things involved. But I'm like, I don't know how you feel like you have the luxury to not make this vote this time. Like, for me, it's more of like a life or death choice than it is. Like, it's a choice for my own safety. Like, obviously, we would all like our ideal candidate with all of our same beliefs and everything. But there's like one person running who's going to actively make my life much scarier and more difficult as his like stated goals.
it's already.
And then there's another candidate who like is not.
It's already going to be scary and difficult without that added pressure.
Exactly.
So like, it's literally vote for someone who isn't running on the platform of get rid of your community or the person who is.
Well, something that I have discovered. So my parents are both lifelong Republicans.
Same.
They have no idea what their platform is. That they like actually don't know what Project 2025 is, and don't have any idea what the party actually stands for, other than a vague idea that it supports biblical values, which it doesn't. Newsflash, it doesn't.
No.
Which Bible?
The upside down one.
As a Christian person, no, it doesn't. So it's like, I think there's lots of people voting for Trump just because they assume that the Republican Party will uphold traditionally Christian values.
Trump upside down Bible.
2 Corinthians.
Because like I was talking to my mom about like, yeah, one of the platforms of the Republican Party right now is slashing Medicare and Social Security. And she was like, that's not a thing. I was like, yes. Yes, it is. And it's really dumb because they're going to lose a huge chunk of their voter base because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the voter base that cares apparently doesn't know that this is what the party's platform is.
Right.
They don't care about you. They just want to make themselves richer.
Right. This is why I'm shouting from the rooftops about it, pretty much literally at this point. Because like so many people who are like either don't care or are on the fence politically just are not aware because they have not taken the time or energy to like educate themselves about what is going on.
Yeah.
And like ignorance can be fixed. Ignorance is not fanaticism.
Mm-hmm.
Ignorance can be solved.
Mm-hmm. Do your parents support you as a trans
not
person?
even a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
They will use my preferred name and pronouns to my face, but they dead name me behind my back and are of the opinion that they are not going to encourage me. So, yeah, I'm on very, very strained terms with my family.
That was an impossible, like I used to be on that kind of terms with my family, and
yeah, it is rapidly approaching.
I'm not on
It is
terms.
rapidly approaching the not having terms with my parents because it's exhausting to be around them.
I can tell you, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I can tell you, at least in my experience, I spend a lot less time crying without having them in my ear. It's much easier for me in my experience to only surround myself with people who are supportive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cutting them out of my life has been the best thing I've ever done for my mental health.
They fortunately are respectful enough not to offer unsolicited opinions on my transition, but they basically don't talk about it. Like it doesn't exist.
Yep.
Which is marginally better than being shamed for it, I guess.
But it's still
annoying.
It's still not healthy for you.
Right.
Because like you deserve to be seen for who you are and not be a piece of furniture in the room that they don't really want to look at, but is there because they have it.
That pretty much exactly sums up the climate. Yeah.
I know how you feel.
A house guest that has been in the house a little too long.
Been there.
So, yeah, that's pretty standard, I think, for trans people with conservative families.
Yep.
Just check off that bingo square, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, that's why we find each other.
Yes.
Exactly.
I have an enormous found family, like half of which are all trans people, so. But, Robin, to your point about Trump's platform wanting to disappear trans people, that's a great segue into some of my notes.
Let's get in those notes.
So I have a lot of either things that I have researched or already existing research about Project 2025 that I've compiled. So I can kind of talk about things from a more like informed perspective where I can actually quote the document, and any page numbers are going to be from typically the either the PDF or the internal document. Those numbers will not match up. So if I say a page number and it doesn't match what's on your PDF, it's because the page number is from the internal document and vice versa. So sometimes page numbers will not match up. Also, it has been found that they are intentionally changing wording to skew page numbers in the public-facing document.
Yeah, in response
so
to the
page numbers are
backlash.
very quickly going to be irrelevant anyway, because they're shuffling pages basically to obfuscate their platform and obfuscate the discourse. But I'm using the numbers that I have.
Good sign.
So I can give you direct quotes that say that basically there is a direct intention to commit queer genocide, basically. Originally, page 5, if it's cool, I'll just read it directly.
I would love that.
Yeah.
So I excerpt from page 5 of the original Mandate for Leadership, I think is the title. Page 5 says, pornography, manifested today in the omnipresent propagation of transgender ideology and sexualization of children, for instance, is not a political Gordian knot, inextricably binding up disparate claims about free speech, property rights, sexual liberation, and child welfare. It has no claim to the First Amendment protections, and its purveyors are child predators and misogynistic exploiters of women. That is not, I want to reiterate for anyone who may have just tuned in, that is not my personal opinion. That is a direct quote from the Project 2025 document.
It's one of the most misogynistic documents I've ever perused, and they're
Yes.
calling us the misogynists, which
Yes.
is insane.
And also, basically
And also,
nowhere.
it's a direct quote from a lot of people I know, too.
There is basically no mention of trans masc identities at all anywhere, because the Republican Party forgot that trans masc people exist.
Except for when it comes to children. The only mention was that there's like a craze among young girls.
Yeah, well, because it doesn't fit the misogynistic hierarchy, because trans masc people are elevating themselves by becoming more masculine.
Maybe they do have
that is a satirical reference.
The right
to
sees them as women, and they don't really care about women, as we've seen
Right.
time and time again.
Trans
Also,
men aren't perceived as a threat, basically.
No, it didn't hit me until you were reading it out loud, but I wonder how many of these people had thesauruses out when they were writing this.
Oh, it is very directly written in legalese to make it more complicated to understand the purpose of the document. Like throughout the entirety of it, it is like 600 or 700 pages long. I've read through most of it, like actually sat down and read through most of the document myself. It is basically like reading court excerpts. It is very dry, but each section basically covers a whole nother branch of government. So like pretty much it's very comprehensive.
It's so clear to me too how they have not talked to anyone who actually works with trans people in a professional capacity, because like
Right.
they're talking about sexualizing minors, and like I know they focus a lot about surgery on minors, and like doctors
does
are not
not
performing surgery on minors. The only minor I know a lot of like trans families, like people with trans kids. I've known of one minor that had top surgery. It was a transmasculine, like older teenager who only did so because his parents both signed off on it, and was fully supported by mental health care professionals,
Right.
physical health care professionals. And like both parents signed off on it. They aren't just doing it willy-nilly because doctors don't want to get sued.
Exactly.
It's incredibly uncommon.
It's just insane.
Yeah, that does bring up a point that I'm going to put a pin in so that I can continue the second half of this horrible thing, and then I'll come back to it. The second quote is originally from page 554, where there is an intent to enforce the death penalty where appropriate and applicable. I'm quoting. Capital punishment is a sensitive matter, as it should be, but the current crime wave makes deterrence vital at the federal, state, and local levels. However, providing this punishment without ever enforcing it provides justice neither for the victims' families nor for the defendant. The next conservative administration should therefore do everything possible to obtain finality for the 44 prisoners currently on federal death row. It should also pursue the death penalty for applicable crimes, particularly heinous crimes involving violence and sexual abuse of children, until Congress says otherwise through legislation. And it should be noted...
You've awoken a memory from the cult that I used to work for, so let's put a pin on that. Come back to that later, too.
So these two quotes are important together because what this means is trans people can be labeled sexual predators, and sexual predators are eligible to be executed. Because allowing a minor to transition is now considered sexual abuse under this plan. So there's kind of and this is separated by over 500 pages of text, but there is a clear intent to effectively round up queer people and execute them. No, this is not alarmist language. These are direct quotes from the document that a grand majority of Trump's administration helped write. Most of the Heritage Foundation, the authoring group, is made up of Trump's former administration.
And they put it over 500 or something pages apart, so you wouldn't notice.
Yes, this is a 500-page gap between these two quotes. That is a running thread throughout the document, that there are things that work together, like placed very sparsely throughout the document, so that it's not immediately obvious that they go together.
But then they have it documented in the same document so they can point back
Right.
to it and say, but we ran on this, so you consented.
So I will, the thing that you mentioned about surgeries for minors, that doesn't really happen, right? Like no minors getting bottom surgery. That just does not happen.
I think the only minors that get any type of surgery down there are young men getting circumcisions.
Or
Which needs to stop
intersex
too.
infants
Right,
who
yes.
have no idea and sometimes don't
And did
even
not,
know
can't
until
consent.
something weird
Right.
happens hormonally that doesn't align
So-
with the surgery.
Yes, exactly.
It's never voluntary.
The point I'm going to make is that there actually is a fair number of cases of minors receiving gender-affirming care. Typically, it is cisgender boys receiving top surgery for, if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, gynomastica.
Gynecomastia.
That's the one. That's the thing I can't pronounce.
Yes.
That is actually fairly common for, under 18 cis boys to receive, top surgery for that. But it's because they're not trans, so it's not a problem. Effectively. So there's a lot of language throughout the document that is very selective in how it distributes its quote unquote justice, and it very specifically targets queer identities and trans identities while preserving those same rights for cis people. Of note, the current bans on transgender care in Florida, which have been temporarily overthrown, only specifically stated for trans people. So you could still get all of those same gender affirming cares if you were cis and needed them for whatever reason. Actually, that's why it was overthrown, because that was ruled discriminatory federally. But that's a very common repeated issue in this document, is very selective use of these terms to single out minority groups, frankly.
Another thing that's driving me insane is like they're talking about all these kids getting this gender affirming care, and like it's children getting gender affirming care. So if children are getting gender affirming care willy-nilly, then why did I start at 28, 27 and am just now getting approved for T at age 33?
Yeah.
If it's happening willy-nilly for kids, then why did I have to fight doctors for 5 to 6 years? How is that real?
Right.
It's just wild. Talk to a trans
there's
person.
Right.
Harder restrictions on HRT than there are on guns.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's probably like the biggest red flag for me from the document. But there's, like I said, it's a 600-700 page document. So
There's so many red flags in there that aren't even just towards trans people, but like just
absolutely.
it regarding women. But we're the misogynists.
Yes. I have a kind of bullet point condensed list of direct attacks on the queer community. This is from a flyer provided by stopthecoup2025.org, which is an organization dedicated to fighting Project 2025. So they have lots of like flyers and other documents provided to kind of stick everywhere. But it's given kind of a comprehensive list of things that are proposed by the document. This includes removing all civil protections and rights for LGBTQIA+ in all federal rules and regulations. So any and all mentions of gender identity are removed from all federal documents. So reversing all of the mentions of gender from the Civil Rights Acts and previous. It would cancel the presidential executive order that Biden submitted for healthcare for trans people. So it paints LGBTQIA+ people as unnatural, dangerous, and a threat to, quote, normal families. It criminalizes transgender and non-binary identities, equating them with pornography, now a crime. It asserts that sex is only binary, so transgender or fluid gender identity are all unacceptable. It states that families, quote, families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society, end quote. It forbids gender-affirming care for teenagers or adults. It forbids the changing of names, pronouns, and identification cards to match one's gender. It would criminalize providers of gender-affirming surgery and care for dysphoria. It calls for criminalizing teachers or librarians deemed as promoting LGBTQIA+ books or issues. It allows faith-based agencies to refuse adoptions for, I'll just say, queer families. It supports court rulings that allow for anti-queer discrimination on religious grounds. It allows workplace discrimination on the grounds of religious exemptions. It restricts the application of sex discrimination protections. It bans anyone who is HIV positive or has a gender dysphoria diagnosis from entering the armed forces. And it would ban US aid to any group providing services to the queer community. So it is a pretty comprehensive erasure of all queer identities, not just trans people. This also extends to, any not cis-het identity. And that's just the gender and sexual identity issues. That's like 3 or 4 pages worth of content out of a 600-page document. Effectively, the goal of this document is to give any conservative president, but Trump is the named person in the document, effectively dictator-esque power day one, and establish a sympathetic federal government.
Which he says he just wants to be dictator on day one, but I don't buy it.
Yeah, there's a lot of language in the document that basically says that their goal is to mass fire anybody sympathetic with the Democratic Party from all forms of office as quickly as possible and replace them with conservative candidates. So basically any appointed position will immediately become conservative.
I do think it's also a little important to point out that, like, this may be the first very comprehensive place that all these things are written down, but this is not new.
Yeah.
This really was, this was provided similarly to Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
By the Heritage Foundation, the same group, and this is almost identical to what their plans were for him, just far, far more drastic. And I believe during his presidency, they accomplished like 2/3 of their plan at the time. So they have a good track record for getting their policies put into place during a conservative presidency. There's also a lot of rhetoric in the document that talks about they weren't ready for Trump's presidency, but this time they are.
Yeah, okay.
Such that they didn't capitalize on him being president last time, and they absolutely intend to capitalize on it this time, should he win. Or should any conservative president win. They've made it very clear that this is not stopping, for example, if Harris is elected, they'll just try again next time.
Robin's got receipts.
Can I... I was going to say, can I share something that I...
Go ahead.
So Ben and I did an episode about this issue a couple weeks ago that very quickly became
out of date.
Out of date, yes. This is like right before Biden dropped out. We were scrapping the episode essentially. But I was talking about, this is from the Family Research Council in 2015. This is the plan that they laid out almost 10 years ago. And to your point, like, it's not a new thing. This has been a thing that they've been openly talking about for a long time. They just didn't have necessarily anybody in power to enact it before. But in 2015, the Family Research Council's 5-point plan for transgender people was, number 1, states and the federal government should not allow legal gender marker changes. Number 2, transgender people should not have any legal protection against discrimination, nor should anyone be required to respect their identity. Number 3, transgender people should not be legally allowed to use public facilities in accordance with their gender identity. Number 4, medical coverage related to transition should not be provided by the government or any other entity. And number 5, transgender people should not be allowed to serve in the military.
Yep, that's all in this document.
The same.
Word for word.
Just insert Pam from The Office going, it's the same picture.
Yes, absolutely.
Pretty much.
They've just been copy and pasting for decades.
And they did the freshman college student thing of tripling their word count by copy pasting a thesaurus.
Yeah. We'll sound more smarter if we use big words.
Well, people won't want to read our document, our Necronomicon, if it's filled with
that's
legalese.
Essentially what it is with any legal document in Congress. They just make it.
It's a good name for
it.
it.
They fill it with a bunch of bullshit, so that way people don't want to read it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I haven't read the whole thing. I've just looked up sections.
Yeah, I got like 3 pages in. I'm like, Sarah, please.
I was bored at work, and I basically read the whole thing. Because sometimes my job is very boring.
You are stronger.
We thank
You're stronger than any U.S.
so
Marine who would probably gladly have you at this time, but maybe not in a couple years. We'll see.
I almost did join the Air Force at one point, but that's a story for another day. Chloe having an existential crisis over that fun fact.
Hey,
what?
It's one of the safest branches, and you get paid very well, and Like, the only reason why I have a
Yeah.
house right now is because my husband's in the Coast Guard and he got a VA mortgage, so we didn't have to have a down payment. So
The Navy has a lot of lesbians in it, so
does the Coast Guard.
I believe the director of like civilian affairs for the Navy in San Diego is a lesbian.
My husband the other day, Robin and I were texting about how gay the Coast Guard is, and I was telling Chris about it. And he was like, I'm Coast Guard and I work in a Navy building. It's a Matryoshka doll of gay.
All right,
Gays within gays.
I would like to make all of us very depressed, and so I am going to give you basically the breakdown of the whole document. I will try to be
Okay.
I will try to be more brief than a
Go off,
600-page document is. So it is separated into sections, and each section has chapters. So section 1 is titled Taking the Reins of Government, and it is basically a comprehensive list of how they're going to install a day one dictator with Trump and excise the woke mind virus from the US government, basically. Section 2 is the common defense, which is how they're going to restructure the military to become basically a occupational like police state, like very close to martial law.
Mm-hmm.
And then section 3 is the general welfare, which is a pretty comprehensive destruction of all like social programs and deregulating pretty much all corporations as much as possible. I'm pretty sure Teddy Roosevelt would be rolling in his grave. It also talks about like family and gender and stuff. That's where a lot of that all is in the social section. There's also a lot of like anti-climate change stuff. Like a lot of like climate change isn't real. Let's just milk the world for all it's worth to get the most money out of it as quickly as possible.
Is it true? Do you know if they're talking about getting rid of like hurricane tracking?
I don't know that specifically.
Okay.
But there's definitely like a return to fossil fuels. There's like a deregulation on like food companies. There's a lot of stuff that's not great for farmers, which is really strange that they're shooting themselves in the foot by alienating a lot of their actual voter base, which is like rural, older, hardworking people typically that often are Republicans. And section 4 is on the economy. So that's a lot of changes to like the Treasury, a lot of changes to freedom of speech controls by like intelligence companies like Facebook. So there's even a lot of like basically government overreach trying to police what private corporations are doing, or rather not policing what private corporations are doing, depending on what suits their agenda better. And that's the 4 sections. And so there's over 30 chapters split between 4 sections, and it's like over 600 pages of content.
Jesus.
So the Taking the Reins of Government has a section. Chapters 1 is the White House, which basically their goal is to put an activist conservative council and president into office. And here's the big kicker: consider limiting mainstream press access to the White House. So as soon as you ever have any mention of limiting public information to any entity or person, that is immediately fascism. That is what the Nazis did. They limited information available to even officials in their party, and especially the populace. So basically, this is like not letting the president look at news that's not convenient for you, right? That seems concerning, don't you think? Chapter 2 is Executive Office, which is things like eliminating the Gender Policy Council, reversing basically all climate change and gender ideology Biden administration policies, making the National Security Council a part of the White House, which that seems like a great way to end up with spying on US citizens, as if they're not already doing that. I digress. Chapter 3 talks about the central personnel agencies. So things like the Justice Department, FBI, the CIA. In a nutshell, it's basically they're axing a lot of those agencies. So they're reducing a lot of like FBI and CIA funding pretty drastically, because it's hard to have a dictatorship when you have branches of the government that don't answer to the dictator. And typically the FBI and CIA are kind of do their own thing. There's also a lot of things like education basically not being able to supersede parental rights. So in other words, a big example is teachers would be legally required to out trans students to their families. I have personal friends who are teachers, and that is terrifying for a lot of them, because you basically face jail time if you don't. You basically your choice
I'm
is
married to a teacher.
Your choice is basically out your trans student to an unsafe situation or go to jail, basically under the proposed changes. Cat.
Oh my gosh.
Cat.
Well, I'm gonna get my cat.
Was that Nami?
That was Nami.
Oh, I heard a baby.
Who here doesn't have a cat?
Oh,
I have a cat.
we all have cats.
He's the nicest cat in the world, but he hates
It is
cuddles.
fascinating how many trans people have cats.
Cats
I've
are
noticed
just
a trend.
cats just have gay energy.
Yeah.
I'm pagan, so it kind of comes with the territory.
Good for
I
you.
just grew up with cats.
I think
Stop
it's great
thinking.
whenever anyone has like beliefs that go against like the societal norms. I think it's cool whenever anyone has beliefs they don't use as an excuse for bigotry. But
See, it's really funny being counterculture and
Crazy.
being an actual biblical Christian.
yeah. Which that's my
I'm not
like
Christian Mastercraft server.
one of my favorite people on earth. Robin knows of her. Kishante is an actual Christian who's like loving and caring. And
Yeah.
it's just like so nice.
Yeah, my wife is too, and she's married to a trans
Yeah.
woman. So.
It's like, I don't get it. It's like, literally, we have two jobs: love God, love people. That's it. That's literally our only job.
Mhm.
Why are you not
literally
doing those two
says-
things?
It literally says that you will be judged in the afterlife to the like severity that you judge people in life. So why are you judging?
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
father-in-law.
Growing up very fundamentalist, I had a wealth of like seminary study knowledge. Don't even get me started on how bad the legalism has gotten. Don't even get me started.
Robin has
Mhm.
a degree in religious studies.
Oh, joy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know.
So yeah. Remember that pin that I placed earlier?
Yeah, you
when
want
were talking about the
to
death
take that pin out?
penalty?
Mhm.
I do want to take that pin out. Has anybody heard of the documentary God Loves Uganda?
I
No.
haven't specifically heard of that. No.
No.
So it's about the church that I used to work for. I totally forgot that this was a thing until very recently. Um, I think this was taking place around the time that I worked there, but I wasn't aware of it at the time. I was only there for like a little bit over a year, I think. And it would have been like 2009, probably somewhere in that area.
Mhm.
You may remember from the news a while back about, and I forget if it passed or if it just almost passed. I think it passed. But in Uganda, there was a movement to make it not only illegal to be gay, but also to make it punishable by the death penalty. And there were some American, let's say, emissaries, I believe they called themselves missionaries, who were there talking with the government leaders in all the way along the process of making this happen. And they were from my church.
Oh.
So if you want to learn more about my church,
Well, they're not currently your church. Let's be very clear.
My former. But the
own
only
the
church that's
church?
ever given me a paycheck. A minimum wage paycheck, but still.
Are any of you familiar with Pastor Chuck Smith and Calvary Chapel?
I've heard of Calvary Chapel.
That's what I grew up in.
I've heard of Calvary Chapel.
So
Oh.
it started as
Mhm.
like a tent church, like a bunch like people in tents.
Mm-hmm.
Originally it was Pastor Chuck Smith, a very like almost it's like almost Baptist.
Yeah.
That's the persuasion that I grew up in. Lutheran and then Calvary Chapel.
Mm-hmm.
So very legalistic and very
I was
fundamentalist.
baptized Baptist on my
Yeah.
Same.
on my
Southern Baptist.
15th or 16th birthday. I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
I was dating a religious boy. His mom found out we had sex, and I had to get baptized to make her happy.
Oh my gosh. See, I
They didn't walk you in front of the congregation, though, did they? They did that at my church.
Oh my.
In high school, and well, when I was a child.
It's
great.
It's just that, a church is fun when you are in the main sanctuary and you look up and the ceiling looks like the Death Star.
That sounds kind of fun, actually, though.
Ooh.
Like it's all like unfinished, like AC ducts and like spotlights.
It's a horror movie.
Industrial. I like it.
Yeah, because you
Modern.
need to fit 2,000 people into a single room. You don't have time to like plaster the ceiling.
Is this a church or is this like a BDSM club?
I mean,
Well, I mean,
A little from column A,
Yeah.
a little from column B.
if you were
Once
queer,
the
it was
door's
probably the
closed.
second one.
Yeah.
I think I might try to spare you all the drudgery of going through all of this. I think suffice to say, it is really bad. And I have covered 1/4 of the document.
And I mean, it's pretty clear that you've done your homework.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Biden wasn't kidding when he said Google Project 2025. There's lots of like breakdown bullet pointed lists of what is in the document. So you don't have to read a 600-page thing. You could read a 4-page bulleted list instead. Which is still really long, but whatever.
But also shout out to Taraji P. Henson, who said it at BET Awards.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's indicative of people's apathy towards the well-being of others that so few people are voting for a political platform that wants active deportation and genocide. So maybe consider how your choices affect people and yourself by educating yourself about what's going on in the country.
I really hope that anyone who listens to either one of our podcasts knows more than the apathetic people. I really hope.
I mean, if they're listening to our podcast, they probably have to know about Project 2025 because
I talk about it like every episode.
Yeah.
I bring
Oh
it
my
up like
gosh.
once per episode.
No, because if you're in the community, you kind of are pretty much already aware of it.
I mean,
It's all I see on my TikTok, and I'm on the trans side of TikTok.
I kind of at everyone in our Discord server every time there's like a development in like trans politics.
That too.
If any of you have specific questions about the document, I think I can answer things more specifically rather than trying to go through every single point it makes.
It's not necessarily trans related, but like the section I'm most familiar on is the Coast Guard section because I was reading up on it because of my husband and how it would affect his job because I don't make enough income to support myself like he supports us all together. And I think something that I found really scary about it is a lot of the stuff in the Coast Guard section is actually like, it's kind of what the Coast Guard's already asking for. So I do have some fear, like this isn't really a question, it's just a comment. I have some fear that people are going to see that the sections that actually kind of make sense and then ignore the parts that don't. And that worries me a lot. But the ways that they want to go about it isn't the way the Coast Guard wants to go about it. But they're saying things like they're underfunded. They need to have like appropriate ocean-going vessels to able to accomplish the work they're supposed to do. And like that's all stuff that the Coast Guard has been saying forever. And that just scared the shit out of me, honestly.
I mean, it kind of scares me that the right's not even really talking about Project 2025.
Yeah.
Like the left is talking all about it, but the right's kind of like just trying to sweep it under the rug.
It's because they know the more people on their side that read it, the less people they will have on their side.
Exactly.
Probably the two most concerning things in the Department of Defense section are an adopting of, quote, irregular warfare as a cornerstone of U.S. military strategy abroad and at home, which is basically legalese for chemical weapons and guerrilla warfare and like drone strikes, basically fighting dirty and using more like espionage style warfare.
No, when What's-His-Face talked about if the left cooperates, there won't be a civil war, like he meant it. They're literally attacking on U.S. soil, our own people.
Yeah. But wait, there's more. Direct quote. in a major step, reversed the historic U.S. policy of deterrence only to invest and adopt an offensive missile defense policy and a space defense policy. So
encourage other countries to attack us with nukes.
basically, yeah.
Essentially.
Oh, yeah. Also prop up Taiwan to deter China from building nukes was another section.
Aye.
So basically, Cold War II electric boogaloo. Because that worked so well the last time.
It was so great.
Mhm.
Everyone was so happy and they felt so safe and free.
Yeah, if you have enough nukes, nobody will attack you, right? That's how that works, right? Right?
No.
Right,
Indeed,
guys?
very much.
No.
It's really depressing reading the document.
And then
Basically, every section is just like worse and worse and worse.
and the things that they're writing aren't just affecting trans people. There's so much in there that is targeting, restricting the freedom of cis women too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even, okay,
Mhm.
there's even stuff in here that would like harm and restrict cisgender, heterosexual white men if you're not of a certain social class,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're a farmer, there's a lot of stuff in here that really messes with your ability to do your job. There's a lot of stuff that messes with like your like procurement of supplies and things and like the way that you sell. I don't have direct quotes on that one. I haven't studied that section as closely.
I just think it's like the point I'm trying to make is like, yes, we are scared, and yes, we have every reason to be scared, but more people should be scared.
Right.
This should matter
Yes.
to people.
Yes, this should matter to every American citizen, and this should also matter to people outside of the US.
Yep.
Because there's a ton of foreign policy stuff in here that is very isolationist and very hostile to other countries, particularly China, Russia. There's a lot of like, America first isolationist policy.
And like, don't get me wrong, I would love it if people were learning about the harm it could do to trans people, and that would like change their hearts and their minds, but I just don't have that much faith in humanity. But I would like for people not to vote for this so we could continue
Right.
to exist.
Like,
so like, whatever
yeah.
will get people to listen, I want them
Like
to
old
know.
people, if Project 2025 gets like enacted, you're gonna lose all your healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you
Like,
have a pre-existing condition, say goodbye to coverage.
Mm-hmm.
even just, the slashes to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security alone should be enough to stop people from voting for the conservative parties, any of them, particularly the Republican Party. But there's also like cuts to food stamps, tightening of restrictions on getting them, things like that.
Yet another example of being pro-life until someone is born.
Right.
Exactly.
Pro-birth, not pro-life.
Mm-hmm.
If people were
Mhm.
actually pro-life, that'd be pretty cool, but they're not. Like if there were really, really
Right?
strong
But
protections and
they
support
get
for
around
new
that.
mothers, that'd be awesome.
They get around that by calling everyone they hate not actually a full life, not a full human.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How's the old saying go? Life begins at conception and ends at
Mhm.
Yeah,
birth.
there you go.
Yep.
You can tell that I have had a lifetime of hearing some of that rhetoric and being very fed up with it now. As somebody who is capable
Yeah.
of making my own decisions and forming my own worldview.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is sarcasm, but you can't be capable of your own decisions because you're trans and a woman, and therefore you can't actually think.
I'm
You've been
sorry.
brainwashed.
How could I make such a careless mistake?
Now, I may be trans, but at least I'm a man, so I'm here to tell you.
You have white and male privilege.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone sees me
Oh
and
my
thinks,
God.
man.
I will grovel
So
on the
you should
floor.
probably be explaining this to us.
Yeah,
Then.
man.
why
Mansplain-
didn't you do the
Mansplain
research?
Project
Ben?
2025.
Because
You should be doing the research. How dare you let a woman talk down to you like this?
as
The last hour of this episode is going to be Ben going, actually.
Just
and
rewording
then
everything I just said,
bulldozing the rest
No.
of
but a
it
little
all.
bit wrong.
Everything that you said.
as a man who
Mhm.
has a pretty strong sense of reality and also has lived a good portion of my life as a woman, I just understand and respect when a woman is smarter than me about things and can tell me better than I would know. And I also
Mhm.
just trust women more. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes.
same.
100%.
Wonder why.
It's like women are attacked based on like y'all's ability to make decisions and be independent and have access to things more than men. And although society doesn't recognize me as such, I know that it gives you more motivation to understand the risks.
Mm-hmm.
So why would I not listen?
Right.
Yeah.
That's my mansplaination for the day.
Yeah.
Should add a section, Ben mansplains.
Yep.
Dyslexia.
This has
Ben'splanations.
Ben's planning politics.
You
Like-
call it Ben'splaining.
Yeah.
I'll go on a side tangent here for you. I work in technical support. Surprise, surprise. Fulfilling that stereotype, I know.
Transglossy.
What?
Wait, you work in tech and you have a cat?
Yeah. I'm also a tall,
Do
thin
you
white
have
girl.
How many shark plushies do you
I
have?
have one sitting right next to me.
Is it Blahage?
Are you wearing a circle skirt?
No,
currently?
I'm wearing black jeans and a black tank because I couldn't be asked to
Okay.
dress femme today.
When's the poetry slam?
Sure.
I've totally forgot where I was going now. I had a point I was trying to make, and it's gone. It's flown away like a butterfly out the window.
Mhm.
ADHD.
Welcome to Sarah's mind.
The neuros are diverging to the left and to the right.
Like we could probably have a whole like 2-episode podcast where we just talk about things Sarah's forgotten in every episode.
It's not the first time on an episode I have started talking and somebody
Mhm.
interrupted me to make a joke, and then I forgot my point.
I'm the
Today on
someone.
Sarah Forgets the News.
Today
someone. Hi.
on Sarah has one brain train and it gets derailed at every turn. Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say on the document other than what I
Fucking read it.
And fucking
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah, thank you.
Here, I'll summarize. I'll summarize it.
You've
Republicans
been
hate-
summarizing it.
Here we go. Here we go. I'll summarize it in
Explain it.
2 or 3 sentences. Republicans hate your
I
freedom.
need a woman to explain it to me.
If I could get a sentence out, that'd be awesome.
No. Mm-mm. You can just mute me. You can just mute me in post.
Go fucking vote. There, that's my summary. Get off your
Nice.
ass, 48% of Texas.
Get off your fat trans ass.
And your fat trans ass is looking
Go
lovely
vote.
today.
Bye, Chip.
Aww.
And go vote if they'll let you.
Or your thin trans ass, whatever trans ass you have, I'm sure it looks phenomenal in whatever you're wearing or not wearing. I don't know how hot it is where you are.
It's hot in
I
here.
have to wear blue
It's not as
jeans at
fat
work,
as my doctor would like it to be.
and I hate tucking so much. Oh my
That's
gosh.
why you just got to wear that big circle skirt.
I have to wear jeans at work.
That's what skirts are for.
Oh, silly.
It makes
work.
like my ass looks amazing in them because they're skinny jeans, but then I end up draping my jacket over my front.
Like an apron.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
wear an
stopped
apron.
giving a shit about tucking a long time ago. If people want to look, they can look, and it's their problem.
If I was a trans woman, I can guarantee you I wouldn't tuck. I wear a binder as little as possible. If I'm with my friends and not being recorded, I'm not wearing a binder.
I don't tuck, and I don't wear bras. I just don't give a shit.
I have to wear a bra. Oh my gosh.
I should. Well, according to
I
some
live
people.
on the second floor, so just walking down the stairs is a thing that I have to deal with now.
It will after you've like settled in, after everything has taken effect fully and you've finished your puberty, it will not hurt as much anymore unless you're on your aspect of your cycle that makes them tender.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take your word.
I promise it won't always hurt.
For-
I
for-
know it hurts for a few years, but I
Yes.
Nobody
promise it
told
gets
me.
better. At least it did for me. And mine, there's a lot of movement that happens when I go downstairs, but it does not hurt anymore. I promise it gets better. I'm here to support you through your
Thank
titty
you.
journey. I will
Thank you.
spiritually hold them up, but not physically because that would make me feel weird.
I'm a married woman, Ben.
Well, I said spiritually. I don't want to see yours. You're my sister.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm poly. It's chill.
I'm not, but my husband respects that I flirt with most people because everyone's cute.
Everybody
Yeah.
is cute. Oh my gosh.
It do be like that.
Mhm.
It do be. Especially whenever progesterone just hits and I'm like,
Yeah. That was a fun experience.
I can't relate
Hey.
because I know I have that, but I don't have like the understanding of them individually to
Yeah.
differentiate which one is which, because my body just did it.
Say, if you wanted to hear specifics of trans feminine transition medical science, you can come check us out at the Trans Safe Space podcast.
And for specifics on the trans mask, just stay tuned into the BRAT pod, because I will be giving updates as I start tea.
Yeah.
Unless my blood work
Yeah,
says no.
we get to do a trans mask transition.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'm really excited to kind of see how your journey plays out, because I know a lot less about the trans mask process.
Right, yeah, we have a lot of more trans femmes in our community than trans masks,
it is
so I'm excited
overwhelmingly
to...
trans femme.
Even though we're like 50-50.
Yes.
I think it's just internet representation.
People just see the trans
I'm
femmes.
so comfortable sharing, obviously, or I wouldn't be doing this. So get ready for TMI. I'll just have to tell my work mom not to listen to certain episodes where I talk about certain changes.
Unload on us.
Yeah.
Our pod, there's so many episodes where I am very, very R-rated about talking about my transition on our pod.
I need to catch up. I've listened to a few.
There's a couple of episodes where I talk pretty in depth about my transition and the changes that have been taking place.
Yes.
Which is so interesting to me, because I'm going to be learning about my own puberty, but where I have a context to understand it. You know?
I'm so excited to be on this journey with you and just watch you grow.
I'm so excited we finally met.
I know. Oh my gosh, you guys have just been text on my screen for a while.
Yeah, it's kind of surreal, like talking to you guys, because I have been listening to your episodes on my way to work recently. It's like I'm meeting celebrities.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm a celebrity with my logo.
We are Brat royalty.
Brat king, Brat queen, not by marriage, but like we're both the siblings that share the crown.
Yeah, it's like us and Kamala.
We're the coconuts.
Madam Harris.
Madam Harris. So Robin,
but like she's a woman, so you have to call her by her first name.
Oh my god.
But her first name is a lot more distinctive, so I can see why some people lean on it.
I mostly see people using her full name to refer to her.
Yeah.
Did you guys see Fox making fun of her laugh for
some
reason?
God, yes.
Oh my god, she laughs.
Come up with some original content. Her laugh is so cute. Like,
and powerful, because she is cute and powerful.
Whatever happened to you'd be a lot prettier if you laughed.
Yeah, you'd be a lot prettier if you smiled more.
You never laugh at my
jokes. Jinx, me soda, Sarah.
We'll come over.
Oh.
Everyone come to my new house. I'm not even done unpacking yet, but let's just have a party at my house. Can we just have a trans party?
We'll order pizza.
I love the duality of
trans
this.
Party.
I'm openly flirting with Chloe, and you go, come over to my house. We'll have a party.
You can flirt in my house.
Let's hang out.
I've got a futon in the basement to clean up.
The juxtaposition of, well, come over, Chloe, and hey guys, come hang out at my house.
I want people to come to my house. My husband...
Come fuck
in my basement. My husband just bought this house, and I want to have a party in it.
My god. You guys have me belly laughing.
I'll be right over.
It'll make finally someone will have had sex in this house.
Oh my god. Is that like hitting a butt with a bottle? Somebody has to have sex in the house?
Yeah.
Is that a service you can pay for?
House. Don't worry.
Like, just pay for 2 random people to have sex in your house for you, so that you can like christen the house?
Stand on the computer.
I don't know. Once I start tea, who knows? I might suddenly be horny. I've heard that happens.
That has happened a lot for trans people.
Disrespect your surroundings, Orange Kitty Cat.
Her name is Nami, and she loves to eat rubber.
Is that a reference to One Piece?
Yes.
I figured.
Her brother is Luffy.
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
Can we hear the purr?
Oh,
so
cute.
She's so cute.
She's a purr. That's
My
so
cat's
cute.
purr is broken. He sounds like he's coughing when he purs.
He's got asthma.
Yeah. He's a very heavy, very fluffy orange.
I love them. Nami,
medium
Luffy,
hair.
and your cat all share the same brain cell.
Actually, my cat, his name is Peanut.
Yeah.
He is wicked smart.
Robin, did you want to get on your soapbox about getting paperwork in order?
You want me to lay into you again?
I mean, I have a lawyer's name now.
Good.
So
Yes. Yeah. I'm like, I've been bullying all of my trans friends for quite a while now. The previous version of our like politics podcast that we recorded just ended up with me like crying at Ben for a while, telling him to get his documents in order.
name change, like gender marker change, get it done
Uh-huh.
before it's too late.
Yep.
Yeah, which is like hard for a lot of us because, as previously stated, like a lot of us are neurodivergent or have other mental health issues that make it harder for us to executively function or to just like get
Or
stuff
trauma
done.
related to seeing the name on paperwork.
Trauma related. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why it's difficult. It's potentially about to get a lot more difficult than it is now. And so I don't think people fully grasp how many laws are already either in progress or have been passed, like at the state level, like across our country in the past couple of years, with like many more, like many hundreds and hundreds of more pending. Back in like 2016 or so, when states like Georgia were passing a lot of the bathroom bills and everything, it was like, one bill per state or whatever. And so there was more resistance to it because like, was it North Carolina or Georgia where like just a bunch of businesses were like, no, thank you. Like, we're going to pull out of your state if you pass this.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I mean, it was a long time ago now, but like now they've returned back to like the anti-trans legislation movement. But they're like, what they're doing now is just like what they call flooding the zone with shit, which is just like unloading as many anti-trans bills as possible, as many places as possible. And so there's literally over 1,000 bills trying to be passed right now. And it's like really hard for people to form any kind of unified front like against these bills. And like there are a lot of trans activists. Like there's somebody, I can't remember their name, but there's somebody that I follow on TikTok in Ohio that's very active in fighting a lot of these bills and stuff like that. But there's just like so many things going on that like we're just like a breath away from wherever we live, like having it suddenly be illegal or just very nearly impossible for us to get our birth certificate changed or whatever other documentation, which as trans people who have been out for a little bit, we kind of have learned like some of this documentation really affects our lives in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So I just want to gently bully everybody, like, go get your papers in order as soon as you're like able to do it. I'm going to post on the BRAT pod Discord, at least, a link to a website that was really helpful for me when I got everything done. It's like Center for Trans Equality or something like that. They've recently merged with another like advocacy group, and I think they have a different name now. But I'm going to put the link to the website there because, like, if you live in the US anyway, you can go. There's like a drop down box for like every single state, and you can put in, like, I need to get my birth certificate updated. And they'll give you like all the really specific steps and documents, and like everything is there for whatever state you need to do it in. So, like, I was born in one state. I live in another state. I've like moved around the country a little bit. It's very complicated to do, but like there are resources that are available to make it, if not easy, like more accessible for you.
Yeah.
And I want to add on to that, if you're like me and your birth state requires medical transition for you to change your birth certificate, try to find an affirming clinic like I just did, and get on that so that's even possible for you.
Yeah. Sometimes
Um,
it's like you need a year of HRT before they'll consider it.
Yeah.
So I have travel arrangements in the end of August, so I can't change any of my documents until after that trip. Like, it all needs to match.
So sweet of them to do that to
Yeah.
you.
So Yeah, this is a family trip
Yeah.
and it's all in my dead name. So I can't change any of my documents if I want to go on that trip, which was not an intentional slight to me. It's just
Yeah.
the trip was made before I came out and all my legal documents are still what they are. So basically the day I get
Yeah,
back,
and
I'm starting the legal process to change my name and gender marker.
and it's important to remember, like, a lot of these documents, even if they don't take a long time to like arrange to put in your application and everything for it, like some of them just take an arbitrarily long period of time to come back to you.
Yeah.
So like I don't live in Pennsylvania, but I was born in Pennsylvania, and the birth certificate process is, as far as they go, pretty straightforward. None of them are easy, but it was pretty straightforward. But like when you submitted the thing to begin with, they were just like, it'll take at least 9 months, just because it does. And like it did. It took like 9 months to a year or whatever. Like I got all my documentation like done like as soon as I could. But I still had to wait around for them to get around to sending it to me, you know? And like, so that was a 9 month plus time period where if I needed to get a passport, I wouldn't have been able to, because I wouldn't have had a birth certificate that matched my driver's license and social security card, which I was able to get like immediately, basically. Like in our state, the driver's license, you can just like literally do it on the website and they don't ask for anything. It's amazing. And social security is actually very easy to do too,
on that.
like anywhere in the country. But yeah, because of the birth certificate, because the state that I happen to be born in, not by choice.
You didn't decide where you were born? How dare you?
I know.
Skillicious.
There's so many things. Yes. But all that to say, like in our worst catastrophizing, like mental spirals, which are sometimes not justified, but also often like justified. Like if you were in a scenario where you had to leave the country suddenly for some reason, that timeline for getting out of the country, like I couldn't have done it for like a year, you know? So hope for the best, prepare for the worst of the worst is what I'm saying.
And unrelated to whether or not your documents are up to date, affirmation wise, make sure that your voter registration is up to date, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of your like
'Cause
documentation, please go vote.
And they require a certain number of days, depending on where you are, for your
Yeah.
address to have been updated and all that. So just like, if you're listening to this right now, just check on it. Make sure your address is up to date.
Yeah. It takes about 5 minutes to renew your
And there's like,
registration.
yeah, and there's like a lot of extra gatekeeping, like not just for being queer, but like any kind of minority group or anybody who just might possibly vote for a Democrat. Like
They really want to
like,
keep you ineligible.
Yeah. That's the political strategy now, is like, if you can't beat them, like eliminate them from the like political landscape.
And also
yeah.
try to vote thinking of people who can't vote. Like there's plenty of people who live here who can't vote for a multitude of reasons, but they still need protections. And so like try to think of people who need resources when you're voting. Think of the people who need the most help and the people that get the most harm done to them. Because they matter too.
They do. Yes.
Just want to give everyone a little forehead kiss and tell them that I care about them. So.
I want a forehead kiss.
Thanks.
Thank
Time
you,
for my
Daddy
ASMR
Ben.
channel. Ooh, I'm a daddy.
Thanks, Papa.
Daddy, chill.
Ben's not daddy. Ben's not daddy.
That's true,
Ben's
Chris.
Papa.
My husband is daddy and I'm Papa when we're talking to our cats.
Aww.
Gotcha.
What's your cool trendy nickname for your followers? Safeties.
We
We
don't.
don't have one.
Safers.
We don't have one. We should probably.
You should get
on that.
you should get the rights to the safety dance for your theme
I
song.
was gonna say, Chloe, we need to get like a music intro.
Hey,
I've told you we need to like
What's up,
pre-record
it's
our
Safety
intros
Dance?
and just put it in.
do you want me to write a song for you
Yeah,
guys?
Robin
I'll
did
do
our
that.
theme song.
I can write you a song.
Do it.
But I definitely won't just rip off the safety.
It'll be
dance.
like the safety dance, but
Legally-
like with 3 notes changed.
Legally
Just casually
distinct
gets us
safety
copyright
You can
strike
trans
off
if
the
you
internet.
want to. You can leave the cis behind.
If your friends don't trans, yeah, if they don't trans, then they're no friends of mine.
No friends of mine.
You can trans if you want to.
Get
You can
HRT
leave
if
your
you want
friends
to.
behind. If your friends don't
Yeah.
trans, and if they don't trans, then they're no friends of
Mhm.
mine.
My gosh.
Yeah, get HRT if you want to, but if you don't, then that is fine, because you're still valid. And you know what, kid? You can hang with mine. I don't know.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
That music video is bonkers,
Yeah,
by the
it
way. I love
is.
it.
It is. Yeah.
It's so good.
Everybody look at your hands. It's such a weird lyric.
Everybody look at your
I don't like looking
manicures.
at my
You
hands.
say as I am actively biting my nails right now. Let me stop myself from stimming here.
Hey, this is a
I've been stimming the whole
space.
episode. Like, I've just been whoosh.
Welcome to the Stimcast.
I feel like that's
That's
no. The
okay.
Stimcast is a very
Um,
different kind of podcast, Robin.
That's behind a paywall.
Only stims.
I was
gotta-
making
you gotta-
a steroids joke, but okay.
Get on the Patreon, guys.
Now we gotta make a Patreon.
Oh,
You know, Chloe, I bet if we started a
Yeah.
trans safe space OnlyFans, we'd get a huge jump in viewership.
I have a concept for you guys. I have a concept for you, brats. Somebody play the Shark Tank theme song for me.
I want a
I don't know how
10%
it goes.
and 2 million.
I have an idea for you,
Mhm.
brats. Trans safe word.
trans safe word?
The Paywalled podcast.
Trans safe.
That'd be awesome.
Are we gonna have to pay you a quarter every time we say it?
That one's on the house. I just want to see it become
We're
a
not
thing.
in this to make money, though a nice camera would be lovely.
Yeah,
but-
no, we don't make
Yeah.
Yeah,
money.
Yeah.
we've
It's
already
not a
decided
for-profit
that.
project.
No, if we ever get money off the podcast, we're gonna donate it to organizations that help people get HRT.
That's an incredible idea.
Yeah,
I love that. But also donated it to get us a camera.
yeah.
But
that
only
too.
if you're cis should you donate to get us a camera. I don't want to profit off of trans people.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
yeah.
no.
Yes.
It's like
if you're a cis ally listening to
Only
this,
cis
then
cameras
you are
accepted
It's
there.
like a
honor-bound
Robin Hood situation,
us
right?
shit.
Steal from the cis and give to the trans.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's like when I was streaming on Twitch with my cross stitch and my friends would donate, I'd be like, I don't want friend money. I want rich stranger money. Stop it. And that's how I feel about
Exactly.
funding for the podcast is I don't want trans money. This is for
I'm a
trans
f-
people.
I have a friend that's been donating subs to me, like gifting subs. He's gifted 50 in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
I love him.
I know, he's so cute. But I'm like, dude, just stop. You're my friend. He's like, but I want you to succeed. And I'm like, you know, I only get like 250 from each of those subs, right?
Yeah, just go to the PayPal link in bio.
Yeah, exactly.
You could just
Mhm,
Venmo me
Mhm.
$250 a month instead.
Exactly.
Imagine all the HRT that would pay for.
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
unironically,
So much
that would be like
HRT.
6 months plus, depending on what you're
Mhm.
taking.
I have a year's supply of estrogen over here, so I'm squared.
I wish I could just suck it out of my body and donate it.
Oh my
Like,
gosh,
where
give me your
is-
ovaries.
Where's our exchange? I would love to. Dr. says he might be able to get me hysterectomy, so that sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. is
I can't wait to
bullshit.
hear about it on the BRAT pod.
Dr. gave me estrogen, we think.
I went through an organization called Plume to get mine
Yeah,
originally.
that's where I'm going.
Didn't you
through.
do that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Me well, that's how I met Dr.
Oh.
I don't know that it's the same person as
you're
Ben's
using
doctor,
not a
but
last
they
name on
have
purpose.
yes, yes, but they're both Dr. is with, I believe, the same last name. I didn't have any like leftover documentation because it was a long time ago. But like I saw the pictures from the website and everything. I'm pretty sure it's the same
But
guy.
now I have an actual in-person endocrinologist.
He's a cool dude.
So that's pretty great.
I have a local endocrinologist finally who I still meet virtually.
Yeah, well, I did the initial consultation had to be in person.
But in theory.
And now it's telehealth because I'm not driving like an hour and a half to Irvine to see an endocrinologist.
Yeah, Dr. wants me to switch to telehealth after my how to do T-shots appointment, just because I don't live in the same city. Like, it's not as big of a hike as some of his patients, but he was just like, for people who don't live right here, we try to inconvenience them as little as possible.
Ooh.
They
I have a
never
website I'll
taught
have
me.
to share with you. Oh, yes.
Sorry.
It's this trans mask doctor, and he provides links and things to cheaper alternatives to like needles and things like that.
I would love
I'll have
that.
to share that. Yeah.
Gotta get a Sharps box. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I don't even use mine anymore.
They did not tell me how to do my shots. I had to figure it out myself.
I told you how to do your
Ooh.
shots.
Well, yeah. Well, also Planned Parenthood has a step-by-step explanation of how to do HRT shots with diagrams. So that's pretty cool.
No, I have an appointment.
I'm still doing the old under the tongue thing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just
I asked
stabbing
to
myself with a
switch
needle
to
once a week.
injections because of the stable, like the more stable.
Should I switch?
It's not going to change your results much, typically. It's more a preference thing.
Yeah, and you have a
Would you
higher
rather
chance of
take
getting off of
tablets?
Spiro as well.
Yeah. Like my person said I should stay on blockers until I can get bottom surgery, regardless of my E levels. So
I've never been on Spiro.
I've been on Spiro since day one. So I gotta pee all the time. It's great.
And you want
I
pickles.
mean, I have to pee because my
Pickles!
bladder has shrunk for some reason.
No, I eat cashews and chug water like it
Ew.
goes into a portable hole in my stomach.
Ew, water.
Are you on like a different blocker or just no blockers?
No blockers. Just estrogen.
That can work for some people. It just depends on how your blood work works out.
Yeah,
it depends on your body.
It's tailored for each person.
My first Plum doctor wouldn't give me blockers for I don't know what reason, but then once I got like a real doctor,
yes,
you know what I mean. I don't mean to dismiss it,
yeah,
but
I get it.
Once I got like a normal, once I got a normal endo, like I got on the blockers and it was really good.
HRT cast.
Woo.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good thing if we could. I don't know if you all, because I haven't listened to all your episodes yet, because you have a lot more to catch up on than we've put out. But I don't know if you've done one comparing like the different requirements in order to be affirmed. But it would be fun to do that as a collaboration sometime.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah. You mean
honestly,
like
we should just have
trans mass and trans femme?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We should have a parent podcast hosting company and then just have our two.
That's Robin's dream. Robin wants to be a hub.
For
trans podcasts.
Yeah, no, I have thought about
because that'd be cool.
Being like doing like a podcast network.
That'd be awesome. So we can get in contact with. Gosh, I forget what other podcast there is.
Because we like one thing that we really care about.
Where is it?
One thing that Ben and I really care about, which is why we're like trying to book so many guests and stuff like that, is just like platforming trans people who you're not going to normally hear like on a podcast or see on a TV interview or whatever. I've just seen a lot of examples in my life and other people's lives from the just like, like just hearing stories from some like rando trans person like has a big impact on people, both cis people and just other trans people. Like it's like a support group. And like I would do a podcast that I wasn't on just to get other people's voices out there.
And like we love the Laverne Coxes and the Elliot Pages and all of like our A-list trans celebrities, but I feel like it's a lot more affirming for the normal trans people to hear from other normal trans people who experience the same barriers that they experience, that a lot of the A-list trans people can kind of just buy their way through. Like, it is normal to have to struggle sometimes, and you're not broken if you have to struggle sometimes.
Mm-hmm. That is an episode that I've been wanting to do for just like the influence of like economic inequality and like other kinds of social inequality when it comes to people's transitions. Because like all the people online who are saying like you're not a real trans person unless you've had every surgery and so on and so on.
Oh, transmedicalism. Yeah.
Yes. Name one of those people who isn't like a wealthy white person.
Fuck you, Blair White.
Like if you don't have any economic or racial or social boundaries of any kind, like of course you can just go down to the trans doctor store and like
multiple
get whatever,
tens of
because you can buy
thousands.
your way through the whole process.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're like any kind of minority or just generally not rich, like everybody's transition looks differently, and it's not necessarily because of that's your preference as a trans person. A lot of it is just like I either can't afford it or there's too many like boundaries in the way of me actually getting like what I want, even if I can afford it. So let's do an episode about that.
I would love to, and I would also love to work with you two literally anytime.
Yeah, you're both great. You both have lovely podcast voices.
I love the like juxtaposition between when I'm talking and I'm paying attention to my voice, and then when I start laughing and it just devolves so fast.
Yeah, but there's just something so charming about like, I think like having to modulate your voice is completely valid, and I think it's beautiful, but there's something so charming about being so tickled by something that you forget.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Funny anecdote, I do live action roleplay. And one time I got jump scared super hard by an NPC around a corner. And I yelled in like full mask voice. And the person that scared me is one of my best friends who is trans. And she died laughing. She broke character laughing.
Like, who the fuck is this woman?
Yeah.
Where did that voice come from?
Yeah. I sounded like imagine if you like jumped around a corner and went bleh to like Vin Diesel. That's the noise that came out of me.
You're just instantly like, oh,
literally
shit.
that.
Hello, you scared me. Someday I won't have to do that. Someday I'm gonna have a real deep voice.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, basically.
So we should do your intro though before y'all have to skedaddle.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yes.
I
How are we
know
gonna
we all have
amend it?
ADHD.
Introduce
I am
us to
shocked
the
that I'm the
world.
one who's keeping us on track.
Thanks.
Badly.
I was about to call you daddy again, but no.
This is a weird, like much like the Orange Cat community. We're doing like a rotating brain cell situation.
It is my job as the paternal figure in this group to lead us as the head of household.
Lead us,
Okay, Daddy.
Lead us, Papa. Papa. Lead us, Papa.
I don't mind. I think it's great. It's very affirming. And if Chris ever gets to hear this clip, I doubt this part will make it in the podcast, but if you clip Sarah calling me daddy, he's gonna die.
For our version, it's staying in. Like,
I mean, I'm sorry. Do you want a clean soundbite?
I don't care. I mean,
How's the Chapel Rowan song go? I'm hot like
Oh my
Papa.
God.
I'm hot like Papa.
It's been a running joke on our podcast that we need to make a sound. I need to make a soundboard of my own voice, like replicating common memes.
mm-hmm.
Yes.
be gay, do crime.
I support all trans rights and wrongs.
I especially support. I support gay pride, but I extra support gay wrath.
Mm-hmm.
Gay gluttony, especially for you trans femmes. Eat your food, please. You need the fat to be more feminine.
Phenomena.
Don't forget, you did not just come out of the coconut tree. You exist in the context of everything that came before you.
Can you say that more deadpan? Because that was great. Once more, but with way less feeling.
Don't forget that you did not come from a coconut tree. You exist in the context of everything that came before you.
We are all Brat.
Brat.
Jesus Christ.
We are unhinged.
Mm-hmm. A little bit more unhinged than we are sometimes.
Somehow.
Hey, I
Pass
found out I
away.
might get to start tea today. Of course I'm unhinged.
I mean, that is fantastic.
It's amazing.
I'm so proud of you.
I
It's
remember that
amazing.
my first dose of E, which was July 20th last year. So I just had my 1-year anniversary of my
Happy
transition.
birthday.
August
Yeah.
7th was my first.
Mhm. Mine was April 29th or April
Mine will be
19th.
August 15th if everything goes to plan.
I remember dissolving the first E tablet under my tongue and being like, wear tits.
And then
My
months and
first
months
injection.
later.
Yeah, and then a year later, I'm like, okay, we're making
I can
progress.
has.
Right. My first injection, I
They kind of sneak up on
ended
you.
up passing out for like 6 hours, like right after my injection. And I had the most vivid dreams in the world. And I woke up and felt like I was stoned for some reason, which
That
was
sounds
very
amazing.
bizarre.
Now that's a feminine phenomenon.
Right?
But also you might have taken the shot wrong.
Probably, yeah.
It's the
Did you
learning
guys
curve.
know that you can do your shots in your abdomen?
I did know. But I might do mine in my ass or something. I don't know. It depends on what they tell me.
Sarah and I talked about this on our podcast. My ass is too curvy. So I don't think it.
It's too
Yes,
voluptuous.
I don't think the needle will
What a
get through.
problem.
It's a terrible problem to have.
Oh no, my dump truck is too heckin' fat. Gotta back this thing up.
How are we going to get through this construction zone?
I need a belt that says wide load.
You don't get them at work?
Caution, this truck may take frequent stops.
Do not follow too closely unless you're down. Unless you're in the basement.
Sarah, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm spacing.
Valid.
My alarm went off and it said it was time for my daily disassociation period.
Oh, we have those all the time.
Daily?
Timer for
Daily's
that? It
pretty
just
rare.
happens.
Must be nice.
My
Minutely.
my spider senses were tingling and it said it was time to count the bumps in my popcorn ceiling.
Oh, I'm so glad I don't have those anymore. If I did, I'd be scraping them off.
I'd
'cause
like
I
to.
can.
I do have to run. I would like to leave you all with some cursed knowledge, if I may.
I love it.
Oh.
Yes.
Give me nightmares,
Some of you may
Mommy.
have heard this before, but the word homeowner has meow in the middle of it. It's home meowner.
My
It also has homo
yeah, my
in it.
notebook for when we were like trying to buy the house said homo hyphen W nurship.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did you feel called out?
It was very me.
Is that homeowner-phobic?
Hey, I don't own property, so
Are you homeowner-sexual?
My husband owns property. My name is nowhere near it because if student debt ever comes calling for me, I don't want our house to be up for consideration.
Valid, yeah. I have that issue too.
For your consideration.
Just a casual 65 grand, it's fine.
I'm not even on the deed because I don't want that risk, and I know that Chris loves me and will never screw me over, and it's technically a marital asset, so he can't screw me over with it anyway.
True.
So, yeah, I'm
You know what else is the marital
these
asset?
cheeks.
My mom.
yeah, your mom.
Really?
Jimmy's
Really?
mom.
My mom is not an asset. My mom is an ass. And not a nice one.
That's my dad for me.
What?
I get
My
that.
dad is not as much of one, but he enables her assholeness, so that makes him almost as bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad disowned me whenever I didn't even get to come out as bi. He just saw that I was texting boys at the time.
How
And
dare
disown
you?
me. Right?
Oh, I had a very different experience. So before I even realized I was trans, I was 17 and I came up to my dad. I was like really serious. I was like, "Hey dad, I think I'm bi." At least at the time. And he was like, "That's fake. It's just because you watch too much porn." And then that was the end of the conversation and we never talked about it again.
Gross.
Yeah. That was literally like it just was not discussed or ever brought up again. And then here I am, like, fuck, how old am I? 6 years later, 7 years later. Turns out I'm not bi. I just mostly like men.
That's pretty much where I'm at.
And that was sexual repression, is what that was.
I am not. Well,
Then you had to come out as straight.
Yeah, that's
I'm
I
kind
really
of
say
bi.
straight
Extra
plus
steps.
because like it's not just like I don't only like cis men. Like it's more broad than that.
That's called pansexual.
Yeah, like I specifically don't want to date
You're-
women anymore.
I'm bi in spirit.
You're like, Dad, I have some good news and
Yeah.
some bad news.
Good
for
news
you.
is I'm straight.
I'm not gay.
I'm bi in spirit, but gay in practice. I see a child.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, it looks like
Yeah,
boy.
I was gonna ask if it was Luffy, but I wasn't too sure because I couldn't. Luffy's slightly darker than Nami, so I only know for sure if I see them next to each other.
That's what the
Okay, I'd have to run.
he's way bigger
All right,
too.
good night. Good night.
Bye, Sarah.
Bye, everybody. It was lovely to meet you both.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I had a terrible time. I don't know what you're talking about, Sarah.
Yeah, that's true.
Gross.
Uh-oh, you're gonna get a spanking in the basement.
Yes, ma'am. Fine.
Good night.
Alrighty. Bye, brats.
Bye.
Thank you for having
brats.
us.
Thank you
Bye.
for having us.
Try and safe as Brad.
I've been thinking about getting a perm now that I don't have dyed hair because you can't really perm and have like bleached hair. But I was thinking about like something that makes it so I at least have volume, like it not necessarily look curly but be big.
Yeah. So you want wavy hair.
Yeah, I just want big.
No, I like this. I like this Edward Cullen vibe right now.
Can I have a bowl cut? I can almost have a bowl cut. I haven't tried this with this haircut yet. My hair is not thick enough to pull it off.
Ben, why are you so hot?
I can't.
You suddenly look like a Beatle.
I can't do the accent.
All right, let's back up again. All right, let's do some Twilight lines.
And so the lion fell in love with the lamb.
Go on, say it.
Bella, where the hell have you been, Loca?
Bella, where have you been, Mamacita?
Renesmee. That fucking
What a name.
so stupid. I love a portmanteau as much as the next person, but Renesmee is a fucking travesty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a portmanteau.
She has to live with that for literally forever.
Yeah, because changing your name is not an option. No one has ever done that.
No, never.